Ethics. The study of standards of right and wrong, systems of conduct or behavior, moral principles. Love. Strong liking for someone or something, a passionate affection for another person, the object of such affection, and a score of 0. Oh, tennis! But let's start with two other words, orthodoxy and orthopraxy. Within Christian tradition, these two words are often at odds with each other. Orthodoxy is the pursuit of truth, trying to know the right things, whereas orthopraxy is trying to live out the truth in doing the right things. But you really can't have one without the other. What you believe affects what you do every day. If you truly believe that God is generous and that there's truly enough in the world, then you're probably going to live a more generous life. Or if you believe that the end of the Bible teaches a fiery end to the earth, then you're probably not going to try too hard to take care of the environment or to make the earth a better place. And vice versa. What you do is going to affect what you believe. A classic example of this is how colleges oftentimes will take students to experience what it's like to be a homeless person. They'll have them live on the streets for a night or two, or experience the system in which poor people find themselves entrapped. And a lot of times it completely changes the way the student views the world and what that student believes. Or if I were to practice living simply for an extended period of time, over time my experience would affect what I believe about what I need, what I want, and it would affect what I believe about stuff. So here's the thing. We derive our ethics from what we experience and believe to be true. Christians, for about the last 500 years, have drawn their ethics from modern interpretations of the Bible. And yes, there really are a lot of other things that have been given ultimate authority over Christian ethics and morals and orthodoxy and orthopraxy over the last several thousand years. It hasn't always been sola scriptura, or scripture only. And ethics are a good thing. Ethics are what drives humanity to try to have fewer wars and to try to seek peace instead. Ethics are what drove people to try to end slavery. Ethics govern how we treat each other on a day-to-day basis. Ethics are what shape our lives and our laws and our communities, hopefully for the better. But here's the thing. Ethics sometimes doesn't have a heart. Ethics are tied to culture. Whether that's good or bad, it doesn't matter. They just are. And sometimes cultures can be really screwed up. And sometimes Christian ethics can treat people really crappy. And this is why I think Jesus taught that love should trump ethics. Over and over again, Jesus would do things that were ethically and morally wrong in order to love a person. Like when Jesus talks to the Samaritan woman at the well, he breaks all sorts of ethical and moral rules. In Jewish culture, a man, let alone a rabbi, a Jewish pastor, did not associate with Samaritans, let alone women. Samaritans were considered ethnically unclean, and much of Jewish practice revolved around keeping oneself clean and holy and pure for God. To associate with or to touch someone or something that was unclean was basically considered a sin. So essentially, Jesus is choosing to sin, according to the religious ethics and morals of the time, in order to show this person love. Another example is one of Jesus' parables, which highlight what happens when ethics wins over love. It's a story about how a man who was traveling from one city to another was mugged, beaten, and left for dead on the side of the road. Now, there are several things that would make a person unclean, and one of those things was blood. And in the story, several Jews pass by and see this man, and they don't stop to help because ethically and morally it would be wrong to do so because it would make them unclean. And that would be sinning. And in one case, it's a rabbi, again, the equivalent to our modern day reverend or priest or pastor. And he does nothing. He continues on. Again, because in that time and in that culture, it was sinful to touch blood. And the story continues to tell of how a Samaritan ends up being the one to help the man. So in this story, Jesus is basically condoning all the religious people of the time who say they're about love, but end up caring more about their ethics and their morals. In this brilliant parable, Jesus is basically saying this world is messy and it's not black and white. And in your effort to be right and to do right, you ended up being horribly wrong. And I think we have the same problem today. There are a lot of things that Christians, as well as the larger society, deem as ethically and morally wrong. Some of those things I think are spot on, and others not so much. But that's not the point. The point is that love should always trump ethics. At least that's what I see being taught in Christian scriptures. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe on YouTube, or you can sign up for the RSS feed on tingledfaith.com. Have a good week. Bye.